right, one final question before we wrap it up. Considering that the Manchester Derby is this weekend, right? And obviously we're both going to go watch
Yep.
it. Long time. I feel like it's been such a long time since I last watched a football game with you
Yes,
in person.
it's definitely been a very, very long time, and I hope we can break our duck of watching football games together that end up not producing anything.
0-0.
Nil.
The iconic 0-0. Every
The
time we
icon.
watch, it's going to be a 0-0. But aside from taboos and traditions, what are your predictions? Like, what's the scoreline?
Okay, so obviously, we have to be realistic here. Of course, I would really want to go for a United win. So I'm just gonna put my trust in this United squad, even though City clearly have the superior team. I mean, if Haaland is fit, we're gonna have a very, very tough match on our hands, especially Haaland, De Bruyne combo, and City are just gonna outmuscle our defenders. I would optimistically, on a good day, I really hope that we can actually hit them on the counter, and I'm going for a 2-1 win to United.
Wow. Okay. On the other hand, like I say, I'm always the more pessimist side of the pair between the two of us. I would say 2-1 Manchester City.
Right.
We'll see.
And
We'll
then
see.
let's celebrate a 0-0.
As is tradition, my friend. As is
Yes.
tradition. Welcome back to another episode of Low High Trips. And today we have a very special guest with us, an OG, the first virtual podcast guest, long awaited, highly anticipated. Welcome to Low High Trips, Kelvin.
Hello, everyone. Yes, this is Kelvin, and it's really, really nice to finally be able to do this in person. I've only done this virtually before, once, and this is a really great opportunity to see how this goes, and I'm really looking forward to today's session.
Lovely introduction. Thank you for that, Kelvin. As we have discussed, we would like to talk all about Manchester United today, everything Manchester United. But right before we kickstart the episode, right before we dive straight into it head first, would you like to share a little snippet on how we started our friendship?
Certainly. So this started in our freshman year of university. So basically, this was during orientation. We had to have lunch with our course mates.
Nando's, yep. Nando's.
Cheeky, of course. Shout out Yanuzai. Okay, so yeah, we had Nando's, and there were all the it was like an orientation batch, and all of them were girls except the both of us, and so naturally they put both of us
facing towards
each other.
Yeah, in the middle of the table.
In the middle
of
the table, and they basically just put us in the spotlight in the middle of the table. And during that time, we didn't know each other, of course. So naturally, we were very quiet. We couldn't think of anything to talk about. And then Aaron decided to kick things off with, "Do you watch football?"
Yeah.
Those magical words. And I said yes. And then I asked back, what club do you support? And then he said, Manchester United.
Thank God it wasn't Liverpool.
Thank God it wasn't any other club. Shout out Gunners, 3-1. And so it was really, really, we clicked right away because of that similar club that we support. And then we managed to dive headfirst into the topic of Robin van Persie.
Yep.
And the Flying Dutchman. So during that time, he just joined Manchester United, and it was we were equally skeptical about how he would perform.
Very, actually. Very.
Yes. And we discussed a lot about why he was signed and all of that. And as you know, the rest is history.
The rest is history. We thought we knew more than the boss himself,
Yes.
Sir Alex Ferguson. We clearly do not know shit. Oh wait, there's actually a bug on the microphone right now. Should I blow it away?
Yes.
Oh fuck! Sorry,
No, I don't know.
I completely lost track of space. My apologies
it's
for
okay. No worries.
harming your health. All right. Anyway, we would like to acknowledge the previous seasons of Manchester. Why do I say it as if like someone died? You know what I mean?
Yes.
By the way, shout out to the Queen. Not like she matters to me, but you know, I guess R.I.P.
R.I.P.
A death is a death. It is what it is. Let's move on.
Okay.
Acknowledgement to the previous seasons. We will not be talking about United's previous 10 years, as you know. A lot of mismanagement by the Glazers,
Yes.
a lot of inconsistent managerial appointments, a lot of inefficient, ineffective, and messy player signings.
Yes, definitely. Very, very, very rushed, and it felt very like a panic buy.
But right before we jump into the thoughts on the current season so far, just a quick question: like, who do you think has been the worst Manchester United signing in the past 10 years?
In the past 10 years, I feel like at the top of my head, I would say with utmost respect, he wears. Honestly, even though he may be a good player, but in terms of the structure of the club, the way we play, no one could possibly be worse than Harry Maguire.
Very fair answer, if I'm honest. I cannot disagree with you. Although I personally would say that the worst signing that I think Manchester United have made in the past 10 years would be... We have so many. I think the craziest thing is that I need to, review the top 10.
There's no obvious answer. No one stand out that it's...
Everyone's
that was
equally trash.
Yes, equally trash.
But I'll say Alexis Sanchez. Just because he completely destroyed our wage structure at the time. And how we just completely started overpaying for players. I'm not saying that United have not been overpaying for players before Alexis Sanchez, but he himself really, caused a lot of issues where we find it really hard to offload players on very high wages. So anyway, like I said, we would like to focus on the current, the present, that is the word.
Present.
So, what are your thoughts on the current season so far, Kelvin?
For the current season, I felt that we got off to probably the worst possible start.
Brighton and Brentford, is it?
Yes, Brighton and Brentford, as well as we kickstarted Eric Ten Hag's managerial career in the Premier League with 2 losses. I mean, I can't imagine how much worse it could have gotten from there. But kudos to him. He made them run for their jobs, I believe.
After the Brentford game, you mean?
Yes, after the Brentford game.
And I heard that he ran with the players himself as well.
Yes, exactly. I felt like that was a very impressive thing to do. It shows that he's really taking responsibility for the players and the results, even though it may not even have been his fault. It was just the players' lack of understanding among each other and lack of passion for the badge. And I really applaud him for taking ownership of those results and trying his best to improve it.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing that really impressed me, and I feel like, some people could like, Aaron's definitely pretty high on copium or hopium at the moment. But it's more like, yes, we had the worst possible start, which is back-to-back losses. But the thing is that we managed to overcome that sort of like mental barrier.
Yes.
Knowing that, we are back to last season again under Ole, under Rangnick. However, I just feel like, the fact that we're able to overcome, and look, it's unbelievable that we actually beat Liverpool.
Yes.
Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. I wouldn't bet my money that United would win, even though the odds would be like if I bet $1 and I get back like 5 million, whatever,
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a waste of the dollar.
Yes, you rather save the dollar than bet it on United beating Liverpool at that point of time, and especially since Liverpool have been a force to be reckoned with in the past few years, and they took quite a number of years to even get to there, but they did it, and we are in a could not be even a more declined position.
Yeah, potentially the worst state the club has ever experienced. I guess that's relatively subjective, but at least for our lifespan, yes,
Yes.
100%, the worst that we've ever seen. It shows that potentially Manchester United fans are loyal if they're still supporting them after
Yes.
10
This is
years
a
of
test of
misery.
loyalty.
100%. But thoughts on Erik ten Hag so far? I know I've asked you about the current season, but what are your thoughts as Erik being Manchester United's manager?
For that, I felt that his resume has been really impressive, especially on the job that he did at Ajax. Even though it's like a Dutch league, relatively not so well known,
Not
as
the top 5, I believe.
yeah, not as competitive as the rest, but he still managed to win titles and managed to create such world-class players develop out of academy, and they made really good business out of it as well. And I feel that him joining us, I feel he would be able to develop more talents, and giving him the opportunity and giving him the trust. The board should do that, and so that he can actually develop more players and bring better results.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like in the past, however many years that you want to say, I feel like we have so many raw youngsters that could have potentially be molded into at least a Premier League level player.
Yes.
But I feel like there was so many wasted talents,
Yes.
I think, unfortunately, I cannot talk about talent without talking about that absolute cunt, Mason Greenwood.
Absolute shit.
Who I genuinely believe, past tense, was the greatest talent that we've ever seen. I think his ceiling is the highest that I've ever seen in my life supporting Manchester United. I genuinely would go to the extent of saying that he was more. I'm not gonna go on this episode because there is absolutely no point. It's okay.
Yes.
Let bygones be bygones.
Yes.
We keep moving forward.
We forget about him because it's not worth it.
Yep. And if you're a shit person in real life, you can fuck off, Yes. He's objectively shit in this case. So yeah. Doesn't matter if he's the most talented youngster in the world or if he could potentially be better than Messi. I'm not saying that he will be or he could be, but it does not matter. A shit person is a shit person. He can fuck off. Anyway, moving on to the next section that I want to talk to you about, new signings, right? So this season, we have signed players such as Malacia, Ericsson, Martinez, Anthony, Casemiro, what the hell?
Yes.
And Dubravka, I believe that's how you pronounce his name.
Let's just call him D.
The D.
D, Mr. D.
All right, let's go back to let's go with Malacia, which is Ten Hag's first official Manchester United signing.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Malacia has actually impressed since joining us, and we really need to recall that another Netherlands wingback named Timber was supposed to join us.
He's a wingback. I believe he's a centre back.
I can't recall.
But that's all right.
I felt like, okay, he's a defender that was supposed to join us. However, the current boss of Netherlands, Louis van Gaal, has mentioned...
Shout out, Louis van Gaal.
Van Gaal?
No, as in shout out to him, but yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. Shout out, okay. Yeah. Louis van Gaal, he mentioned that if Timber joined United and he may not have a chance to feature in the Netherlands squad. And I felt that as a defender, you should actually take that as a challenge to prove to your country that you are indispensable. But he chose to just decline us. And so in comes Malaysia. And as you can see, he's already put Shaw on the bench. A fit Shaw, a reborn Shaw. But a reborn Shaw and his peak is being benched by Malaysia, who has actually shown that he has more passion, and he actually plays for the badge even though he just joined, which is a very rare and appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Malaysia has so far shown to be very relentless.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen him stop running.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him shy away from a challenge. And there was this specific sort of play that really got stuck in my mind, or was brought up in my mind the moment I talked about him, which was, I think he lost the ball. If I'm not mistaken, it was against Liverpool,
Okay.
where he somehow stood up, recovered, and managed to win a goal kick or a throw-in or whatever it is. I don't remember the specific detail, but it was very refreshing to see someone who would fight for every ball, knowing that they are in a disadvantaged position.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter that he felt like he could not win it. He'll try. He'll keep trying to the point where, if he fails, he'll keep trying again. He'll keep trying again.
Yes, definitely.
And for a person of his age, which is just early 20s, it shows, a lot of fire, like you said, and the fact that he's a new signing and not like one of our old guards, I think that really lights up a fire in, Shaw, and I think that's what he definitely needs, because let's be honest, he's always performing when he has proper competition.
Yes, definitely. But if you really want to stand out, you shouldn't wait for competition. You should actually be consistent and not even let there be competition for you, and you should just cement your place. So it's actually really refreshing and to see that some players playing for the badge and not just for like money or fame and all that, just joining United because you wanted fame and you're not performing and you're not fighting for the badge.
100%. And on the topic of a defender as well, I think it's a good segue to move on to Martinez.
Yes.
Oof, that guy, I think he has slot into our team like a glove.
Yes. And for his size, he's known as the Butcher. And you can just tell by the way he plays why he earned that nickname. And the man has just been so impressive. And there has been so many talks about his size, height, and how he's not going to fit into the Premier League. Shout out Jamie Carragher. And it's like he's just been proving critics wrong week in and week out. Even when we don't play well, he does his part and covers where a lot of players would not be able to do it. And he shows that he makes up for his physical disadvantage by performing his technical attributes very well, and he just believes in timing of jumps and ball control, bringing the ball out of defense. It's very refreshing because our previous defenders didn't really have that calmness in front of goal to bring the ball forward and distribute.
Yeah, and I think one thing is so interesting about Lisandro as well is the fact that, him being like a pit bull, being so aggressive in his game, being, you would like to call him sort of like, oh, he's our cunt. The kind of player.
Yes.
Reminds me a bit of like a Herrera, like a Bruno.
Yes.
And you always need these kind of players, as you can see in like Mourinho's team, or whichever teams it is. But anyway, going back to the topic, I feel like it's so interesting to see him being so aggressive, yet being so intentional on the ball.
Yes.
Because in my mind, stereotypically, someone who's a bit more aggressive, an aggressive defender would probably be less delicate on the ball as compared to Martinez.
Correct.
And it's insane how intentional he is, where whenever he gets the ball, his first thought is that, I'm going to get it forward.
Yeah.
in the most efficient way possible without getting as many touches. He releases really quickly. And I think that is what a refreshing change as compared to Maguire. Look, I don't think Lindelof is all that bad, but at times he will take slightly longer on the ball. It could be the system, it could be the players that he's playing with, but Martinez, man.
Correct. And it's really nice because when you take too many touches, you invite pressure. And that's what we've been struggling with for the past few seasons. We just don't distribute the ball fast enough and we invite pressure and then we just cause our own downfall. And it just completely affects the whole morale of the team as well.
And we continue recycling the ball for like 50 times in a game.
Yes.
And speaking of ball recycling as well, man, Eriksen, free signing.
Free signing.
He has
What
been...
a bargain.
I ran out of adjectives to like describe this guy, but the way he moves the ball from, I don't know, the first or second, I can't English right now. When he moves the ball from the back end of the pitch towards the forwards, from the linking up, between the defenders and the forwards. I think that is just, we've really missed a player like that, honestly speaking, probably since, I don't know, Michael Carrick?
Yeah, I feel like it's been so long since we had a player that was capable of doing that. And of course, we've had some great passes in the past few seasons. However, no one has come close to his ability to calmly do it. And he does it with such purpose that it's...
And such precision as well.
And such precision that he knows what he wants to do with the ball. And he makes the whole team gel. And we just go forward as a team. And he really, really helps our attacking and breaking down of opposition.
Yeah, definitely. And also the transition between defense to attack goes so much faster as well. Instead of just, the previous seasons where we are constantly recycling between the defenders and the central defensive midfielders and then right wing, left wing, and it's just constantly like back, forth, left, right. It's just not productive. I feel like he has a very productive way of passing the ball.
Yes, and him being that great on the ball can actually allow players like Bruno to be in the position where they need to be instead of Bruno being the one that needs to look for that pass.
Correct, yes.
And we don't have anyone that can support him. So right now, bringing Eriksen in is probably one of the best and smartest signings that we've done in the past few years and maybe at least the past 10 years.
Yeah, and also, as always, being Manchester United, in the past 10 years, we've signed a player slightly later than we should have. A couple of examples, Zlatan, Cavani, Schweinsteiger. I mean, the list goes on, let's be honest. The list goes on and on. And Sanchez. Still salty. But anyway, we've midfielders as well, right?
Yes.
Before talking about Casemiro, because he hasn't featured as much when we're talking right now, Anthony, thoughts?
Anthony. Honestly, Anthony was like it was talked about all season that we wanted to sign him and he wanted to come as well. It's just that he got delayed a lot. However, when he finally signed, it's really great to see him being so passionate. And of course, when he made his debut against Arsenal, debut goal, and to see him celebrate with such passion on your debut, honestly, I can't think of anyone who had a better debut than him. And
probably Martial.
Yes.
Martial would have been a big shout.
Would have been a big shout
Rashi
for that.
as well, I guess.
And Rashi, yes. It's just we haven't had that many great debuts. Mainly because the signings that we made were not exactly what you call impactful signings, and it was all really last minute, really forced, really panicked. Just wanted to sign a player for the sake of signing someone, and we end up overpaying, and we don't get the end product. So Anthony was really refreshing, and kudos to him for showing such passion even in your first game.
Yeah, and let's be real, I genuinely think that we way overpaid for Anthony. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he has heaps of potential. I think his ceiling is relatively high. He definitely has the pathway towards becoming a world-class player.
Yes.
I think he definitely has that in him, based on the way he plays, based on his understanding of the game right now at his age. But yeah, as always, overpaying for players. But I guess it's the Manchester United tax, isn't it?
Yes, it's Manchester United tax, and I believe that any other club in the Premier League would not have been made to pay so much. But you know what? We'll just take this as an investment. He's still young. We really hope that he can be a world-class player, and that money that we spend for him would mean nothing in comparison to what his value is in the future.
Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. I guess right before we move on to Casemiro as well, what are your hopes for Anthony this season?
For Anthony this season, honestly, I don't want to put so much pressure and, hope he makes immediate impact, like 20, 30 goals per season or assists every game kind of thing. But as long as he helps the progression of our attack, it doesn't matter if he doesn't have the stats to back it up. But what we need is a player that will play for the badge and give his all in the game. And honestly, that's what we read. That's really the bare minimum that we can expect from players these days, especially when it's such a competitive league as well.
I'm not sure if I'm putting my expectations a bit too high while he's still adjusting to the Premier League. As obviously being from the, I can't pronounce Eredivisie. I never know how to pronounce that word, I'll be honest with you. That's all right. The Dutch League.
The Dutch League.
So obviously he came from Ajax, and I think 15 goal contributions, goals plus assists in the Premier League would be a solid first season for him as he's adjusting to the team.
I think 15 should be, it's reasonable because we don't want to expect too much, but 15 would be quite a benchmark since he already has one goal.
Yeah, and not to mention that he actually does not have that many competition as well. Like, obviously speaking with, our player injuries and the lack of forwards that we have.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess I'd like to move on as well to Casemiro, who has not been featured as much as I believe Ten Hag is still transitioning him into the new team.
Yes.
Also scored his resurgence, which is good. It's always a good thing. Competition is always a good thing. But what are your thoughts on Casemiro signing and what are your hopes for this season?
Okay, so Casemiro was really a surprise signing. I don't know how we actually managed to pull it off. There were jokes around that we were in to buy him or in to bid for him. But honestly, I just thought it's one of those rumors where players use United trying to sign them as negotiation for a new contract or just to sign for a different club.
Yep.
So I felt that him signing for us eventually, even if he doesn't feature as much, I believe a player with his experience would be able to guide our younger players, let's say McTominay or Fred, that they can actually understand the position of a CDM and what a CDM is supposed to do and what a CDM is not supposed to do. Because I believe that he is one true defensive midfielder, that he's not a glory hunter in front of goal. He really just gets the job done, and he does whatever it takes to get the job done. He's not afraid of being dirty or not afraid of going into challenges, and I feel like that's what we really need. His experience, and not to mention he's a multiple Champions League winner, so he knows that he has that mentality,
the winning mentality,
and he's already achieved a lot in his career. So for him to come and join us now and start a new chapter, I feel that I would like him to actually be a mentor to our younger players as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think one of the issues with United and how we've played in the past seasons is that we are really, really ineffective in tactical fouls. We do not try to do that. Look at City. City is doing it. Immaculate. Perfect. And Casemiro obviously is quite infamous for, making like 10 tackles and getting one yellow card when potentially 4 to 5 of them could have been yellow cards, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that is something that is very hard to coach. I think that's something that comes with experience. And I feel like, with Casemiro being in a team, he could definitely be leading by example.
Yes,
and be helping us in that regard, in the aspect of the game as well, on knowing how to be smart to draw fouls and knowing when to break plays. And I feel like, honestly, he's probably our only true CDM in the squad. Knowing that Fred and McTominay, they are not proper CDMs. I think they are more of a central midfielder. Scotty's probably best position is box to box. Fred is best paired with someone who's a bit more disciplined, I would say.
Discipline, defensive, because they tend to go forward, they tend to roam forward, and they want to get forward and help with the attack, which is not bad at all. But just that because we lack cover at the back, that can be detrimental to our defense if they hit us on the counter. So having Casemiro there really would help to anchor the defense as well and provide support for our defenders.
Yeah, I think Scotty and Fred, they definitely play best when they play it simple, where they are only given one very specific role, rather than like, I need you to dictate the midfield like Scholes. They cannot do that for the life of them.
Yeah, definitely not.
But I think Scotty's game, we saw how he performed against the previous teams in our winning run as well. This is 4 games, and we're not getting carried away for, disclaimer.
Yes.
His games were basically revolving around breaking up plays, passing the ball to your closest midfielder like Eriksen, and let him do the rest.
Yep.
And I felt like that was his greatest strengths,
Yeah, it just feels like he just needs to be given a specific role, and don't complicate his instructions, don't make him do too much, and that way he can actually really shine, especially when paired with a player that can help him with whatever tasks he's given. And having Eriksen there really helped him as well. Made him look like a really good player, and I believe that that's due to just him following instructions and not going over the top.
Yeah, 100%. All right, moving on to the last but not least, Mr. D, Dubravka.
Yes.
I guess, there have been talks that we've bought him because he's a ball-playing goalkeeper who can pass from the back. But look, I will be completely brutally honest. There's no way he's going to displace De Gea. I don't see that happening at all.
Honestly, I don't really see that happening as well. It's just that, yes, he's a good keeper, potentially world-class and stuff like that, ball-playing keeper. But at the rate that we're going, at the rate that the team is playing, if De Gea can just learn better distribution, I don't see any chance of anyone displacing him in the team at currently. And it's really important to maintain the team morale as well, the team consistency going forward. So De Gea has been at the club pretty much one of the longest since he was there since Sir Alex Ferguson's time. And I believe that him being the senior player in the club would really help to maintain the stability in case some new players are like they disagree with the captain, or they have any like disharmony. This De Gea could be the one to like prevent disharmony as well. So I think Dubravka doesn't really have a chance to break into the first team. But of course, we'll let him play like cup games and see how he performs from there and move on.
But we do have Tom Heaton with us, don't we?
Yes, we do have Tom Heaton as well.
Bit of a strange signing, isn't it?
It's a really strange signing that we have a player, as in we already have a backup keeper, but we're signing a backup keeper to back up this keeper, which is really strange because Dubravka could easily be a starter in a team. Tom Heaton could easily be a starter in another team as well. But we're just keeping both of them as backups. And we really haven't seen them feature in anything else yet. So hopefully it's just Erik ten Hag trying to test things out. If the cup games don't work for Heaton or Dubravka, then we should at least let one of them to be on loan maybe, or to just sign for a different club so that we have so that we don't keep too many players that are just not going to play for us.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we have too many deadwoods in the club. Unfortunately, Phil Jones being one of them, although Phil Jones is quite of an exception. Like, I do pity him, as a human being, not as a supporter of the club. I genuinely pity him. Imagine having imagine someone just having injuries after injuries after injuries for more than a decade.
Yeah, it's
That
really, really
must be
unfortunate and
absolutely heart-wrenching,
hard.
man.
It's like you love the game so much, but you just can't. Your body just doesn't allow you to play the game and contribute. It must be really, really heartbreaking and really unfortunate that this has happened and what could have been.
Yeah, and I want to touch a little bit on De Gea as well,
Mhm.
as his contract is expiring, mid next year.
All right.
From what I can see, we have an option for a further year as well. But let's just put the option for a further year aside. There have been talks that we could potentially be proposing a new contract for De Gea
Mhm.
in the upcoming couple of years or the upcoming year. What are your thoughts? Because he is clearly the highest paid goalkeeper in the world today.
All right.
And I believe a significant amount compared to the second highest paid one. I believe it's a really large chunk as well. I don't have the exact number at the moment, but when I saw the number, it was insane. Especially when De Gea, I be honest, it's not top 5, top 10 potentially right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, just what are your thoughts? Because it feels like the wage structure, and the fact that he can't really build the ball from the back. Sorry, as in he can't build the play from the back. He can't pass as comfortably from the back as compared to some modern goalkeepers,
Mhm.
namely Allison, namely Edison.
Yeah.
Pretty envy, their goalkeepers
Yeah.
and
Really,
perfectly suits the
really.
system.
It's just really, really great to see like rival clubs having such modern goalkeepers in that sense, because the game has really changed, and them having players that can distribute makes life so much easier for their defenders, and for their strikers as well. It just shows that the defenders can trust their strikers, and keeper defenders can trust their keeper, and if strikers can trust their keeper to just distribute the ball to them, and they just need to make the runs without without hesitation to catch the opponent off guard. So coming back to the De Gea situation, I feel that he's probably the highest paid goalkeeper, partially due to the reason because of him being there at the club the longest, one
During
of
our
the
turmoil
longest,
as well.
and during our turmoil as well. And we offer him because of our signings, it kind of like messed up our wage structure. So that has given like De Gea when De Gea negotiates for a new contract, it gives him a chance to request for a higher wage as well. So I believe that what has happened, and at the moment, I wouldn't mind an extension of a contract to him. However, if he can just prove to us that his distribution can be better and he can work on that,
And he can adapt to the modern game.
and he can adapt to the modern game, and
Ten Hag's style of
Ten
play.
Hag style of play, bringing the ball out from the back, and just not staying in your goal like a traditional goalkeeper. You should need to show that you can adapt to the change in the current modern game. I believe that he should make that contract absolutely like we should absolutely sign the new contract for him. Make it feel like we have no choice but to sign a new contract because you're that good. Because let's face it, his reflexes are definitely one of the best. Shot stopping is one of the best, but him not adapting to the modern game has put him in positions where he had to make those kind of saves because he made life difficult for himself.
And people around him.
Yes.
And look, I'm just gonna be very straightforward over here. I feel like this season is very defining for De Gea. If he cannot adapt, and if Ten Hag is not able to coach the way he would like his goalkeepers to play, then no one can. So I feel like, to me, this is probably the last straw for De Gea. Like, either he adapts to the way we play, or I think it's best to mutually accept the fact that, yeah, perhaps he does not have a future at United. That does not mean that I do not appreciate the past decade that he had with us. I think that De Gea is borderline considered a club legend already, just based on how he has won 4 or 5 Player of the Years
Yes.
in the past 10 years, which is borderline wrong as well
Borderline
at a
wrong,
club like
yeah.
Manchester United. But yeah, speaking of goalkeepers, like just Henderson, I had high hopes for him
Mhm.
until he came out on that interview saying that he did not speak to Eric Ten Hag before requesting to move alone to Nottingham Forest, I believe.
Yeah,
Yep.
Nottingham Forest, yes.
But yeah, it's quite of a shame. We'll see how we go with that. But just from that one specific interview alone, he sounds pretty up in his ass, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it just shows there's a difference between being confident in your abilities and being overconfident as well, and just plain disrespectful. Because if you really wanted to just leave on loan, or you just wanted to have game time, I believe that the best option would be to check with your new manager and not just go behind his back and just sign a new loan deal without his approval. On the basis that you think that he would not let you go if he saw you play. So if we're gonna be honest here, if you're really that good, you wouldn't be just going to just Nottingham Forest. You could have gone to, or you could have walked into any other top club. But you choosing Nottingham Forest just to get game time shows a bit of arrogance on your part as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a good point.
Mm.
But yep, just a bit mindful of time. I'd like to move on to the next topic. And of course, when you're talking about Manchester United, in 2022, you cannot go on talking without Cristiano Ronaldo. Sweet.
Sweet.
Anyway, yeah, just what are your thoughts on the current Cristiano Ronaldo situation? Because obviously, in the previous transfer window, or the most recent one, his agent Jorge Mendes was, for the lack of a better word, trying to put him up for sale and was offering him to different / various clubs who are in the Champions League, and obviously that did not concluded, or that did not happen for various reasons. But yeah, what are your quick thoughts on his current situation?
Okay, so for Cristiano Ronaldo, I believe that it's very subjective as well. It's very like obviously he's a club legend. He's achieved everything possible during his time at United, and then for him to just come back after like probably more than 10 years after you left the club, he's gone on to achieve so much more and different leagues as well, and to finally come back to United, it felt like a dream come true. And right now the current situation is that we have to accept the fact that he's aging as well. He's not as sharp as he used to be. However, he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still one of the best, if not the best, but one of the best players in the world to ever play the game. So I feel that even if he doesn't play as regularly as before, his experience and his leadership abilities can really help the club and can really help our young players as well. So I really hope that even if he doesn't get to play, he can actually continue to fight for the club, fight for his place, but at the same time accept the fact that maybe he can be a really good impact sub. Not to say he needs to play the last 10 minutes, but he can just maybe play the second half, and during that second half he can just give his all, press the players, and show that he can still be in the top level of English football as well. And really hope that he can stay until the end of the season, because I feel like with him in the current squad, there's a lot to be learned, a lot to be taught to our younger players as well, and everyone really looks up to him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was pretty obvious as well, where Anthony was openly stating that Ronaldo is his idol growing up.
Yeah.
And he's always like idolo or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You can definitely tell like a lot of young players definitely admired or looked up to Ronaldo growing up, or even emulate their game based on how he was playing back then, obviously before he became sort of like a in a striker position, you know, when he was playing as a more like a left winger back then, even right side. But anyway, just a quick context as well. Cristiano Ronaldo is Kelvin's favorite player of all time. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. He's since he joined, and this was in when he first joined, 2006, I believe, or 2007. 2007 was probably his breakout year. And when he first joined, nobody knew who he was. Everyone thought that we had signed the Brazilian Ronaldo, which was an absolute legend. We thought, and some players were, like some supporters were even disappointed, like, who are we signing and what kind of player is that? But as the records show, he turned out to be one of our best players of all time, a Premier League legend. And honestly, when I watched him play growing up, he was definitely an idol and an inspiration to me as well. And even until today, I still feel that no matter how much he has achieved or how much he has not achieved, he will still be probably my favorite player of all time.
Yeah, 100%. Gotta respect that. And also Ronaldo's contract is expiring mid next year, 2023. But we do have the option to extend the deal for another year. So let's just see how we go with Ronaldo in the upcoming probably months. I think that we have a clearer understanding of what's going on. To me, it's simple. Like, if you want to stay, you focus, you give your all,
Correct.
you commit.
Yeah, don't be distracted and don't be distracted and cause unnecessary media attention.
100%. Yeah, I feel like we already let a lot of players who are quote unquote toxic for the club go in the past transfer window. But I just want to give a quick shout out just to Erik ten Hag. I feel like he has been handling the whole Ronaldo / Maguire situation in a very professional manner. I felt like he was not he didn't cause much conflict. He didn't cause much sort of like controversy. No one was really like, oh, how could you and stuff like that. But he did it in a very sort of like logical way, like a mythological as well. Like, yep, he's not performing, bench. He's not fit, bench. There's no like favoritism. There's no, I don't know, it just reminded me of the time where Mourinho was constantly playing Rooney, despite Rooney being way past his best for a while before benching him.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to see a manager that is able to make such decisions and to stick by his principles. And it doesn't matter who you are and what position you hold in the club. Even if you're club captain, if you don't perform well, you can still be benched.
100%. I feel like, I want to talk about the Maguire situation, but I feel like, he's just beating a dead horse at the moment.
It's self-explanatory, I believe.
Yep.
It's like, it's not to say, usually we would think that it's just United that doesn't fit him. But even when he plays for England, you can see that there are a section of supporters who are already disgruntled with his performances of late. And I believe that his confidence has already taken a huge dip. And there's no doubt he is still a good player. It's just that sometimes the system doesn't fit, no matter how good the player is. If the system doesn't fit that player, it's just going to be a lot worse. And you're trying to force a player who's to play in a certain system when they can't. And you're going to try to expect good results. You really can't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I guess once again, just mindful of time, because if we were to continue talking about Manchester United, as you know, we wouldn't just be talking for hours, we'd be talking for days.
Nice.
In fact, we've been talking for years now.
Yes.
10 years.
10 years. It's been 10 years.
Or more.
2013. About 9.
Yeah, 9 coming 10.
9 coming 10.
So we've been discussing about Manchester United for over a decade now.
Yes.
And what better time to record a podcast with you to discuss about it than right now. So it's an absolute honor. But before I wrap up the episode, I want to know your thoughts and your hopes for the current season. Sorry, not your thoughts, your hopes. What are you expecting?
Okay, all right. So hopes for the current season, I believe that because thankfully, like, we're recording this off the back of a 4-win streak that was unfortunately halted due to world events. So honestly, I felt like coming into the season with new managers, new signings, we had the worst possible start, but somehow we managed to recover. And in that recovery, we managed to beat two of our fiercest rivals over the years in a time where we in a time where we didn't think that that was possible. And so honestly, I feel like this season I'm quite optimistic for the rest of the season. I really want to see that if we can keep this up, if our players, if our first choice defense, namely Martinez and Varane, centre back partnership, can maintain their fitness, I would say that I'm getting I feel more confident having them, and I feel that we can go on to achieve great things. I'm not saying that we're going to win the title or anything like that. That's far too early. But if we can even just give a good competition to the current likes of City, Liverpool, league leaders Arsenal for the month of December probably, until the end of the season, and just keep pushing them. I think at least like Dalo says, this could be the team that brings back Manchester United.
Speaking of Dalo, I absolutely love how he has turned out to be the player that he is right now.
Yep.
Of course, it's only, a handful of games, but still shows a lot of potential. I'm a bit of a pessimist though. I personally would say that a top 6 finish would be solid. I see us pushing for top 4, but I just feel like with our current squad depth, we might struggle a bit come later in the season. Anyway, I'm just hoping that, in the cup competitions that we play in, we try and test new players here and there, or we do our best to push for a deeper cut run. If we do come out with a win, whatever it may be, Europa, FA Cup, are we still in the FA Cup?
I believe so.
Yes, I don't think it has even started yet. But yeah, any cup win and let's just say top 4 finish, I think that would be a success in my eyes. Like, wow, what a first season for Erik ten Hag.
Yes, I agree as well. It just feels like right now we don't want to hope for too much, but at the same time we want to still maintain the Manchester United standard that we should be challenging for a minimum of top 4, minimum of a Champions League spot at least, and then give Erik ten Hag time to rebuild, and hopefully the board actually trusts him enough to let him make his decisions and don't interfere with it, and we could be looking at a very good rebuild.
Yep, 100%. But anyway, look, Kelvin, it's an absolute honor to be able to host you and to invite you onto this podcast in person this time. Like I said, long awaited, highly anticipated. Always a pleasure discussing about Manchester United for you. I feel like that's the one of the major reasons that we bonded over the past decade. Obviously not one of the only reasons. There are many other aspects of our lives. But yeah, just any final words to everyone listening before we wrap it up?
Okay, so first of all, I would just like to thank whoever is listening right now. Thank you so much for and it's been an absolute pleasure and honor to be able to do this in person, to be able to give my thoughts or just be in this discussion and be in this current podcast as well. I feel like it's really, really something that is very it's a very good platform to just share your thoughts and views on everything as well. And I would absolutely love to do this again.
100%. Like I said, anytime you want to hop onto this podcast, just let me know, be it in person or virtually. But with that, I just want to thank you all for listening. Stay high, stay low, stay hydrated. This is Aaron.
And this is Kelvin.
Stay tuned for the next episode, and enjoy football responsibly. I guess that's all we have to say. Who knows? Maybe we could be recording another Manchester United episode in the upcoming months, but we'll see.
Yep, we'll see.
All right, take care.